All right, MMA Maniacs, it's time once again, your weekly MMA podcast brought to you from the Ruloff Family Inc. studios. It is Bueller and Dodge on the mics, giving you the MMA news, breaking down last week's fights and whatever else we can find in the mixed martial arts world. Joined this week by Gene from Team VooDoo, who is bringing the Way of the Warrior International Kickboxing Federation sanctioned fight that is happening in Modesto. So if you happen to be somewhere local in the Central Valley, swing by Bad to the Bones Gym. It's 1226 7th Street in Modesto, California. $25 for general admission. Doors are at 3 p.m. How many fights you got on this one?
We've got 12 fights lined up, 13 possibility. All of them are full Muay Thai fights. All of them from the top schools in California.
Now, Muay Thai is a lot of fun to watch. Matter of fact, if you've ever read Sam Sheridan's A Fighter's Heart, he spent 6 months at Fairtex in Thailand. And the book itself is amazing, but that's probably the most interesting chapter. So kickboxing fights is something you definitely want to come see if you have the opportunity. Big thanks to Memory Tag Greeting Cards. They're sharing our tweets, sharing our Facebook. If you haven't checked out Memory Tag yet, well, then you're lame. Go check one of those out. And AmericanaMMA.org. Yep. Doing the apparel stuff, so go hit them up as well if you're looking for some new fight apparel. And get us on Spreaker, Stitcher, and SoundCloud, iTunes, SplitDecisionMMA.com, and on Facebook at Split Decision MMA Podcast. On Instagram and Twitter, it is SD_MMA. And without any further ado, let's jump into this. I've been gone for a couple weeks, so
So let's start off with let's see here. Chael Sonnen says that he has a meeting with the WWE. He is going to be going to WrestleMania, which is happening in Santa Clara, by the way. It'll be happening at the new 49er Stadium.
Right.
Coming up here real soon. He says he has a sit-down meeting with them. This will be in March. He also says that Vanderlei has a sit-down meeting with them. So we may see their bout actually happen, possibly in a WWE sort of way.
First off,
steel cage match.
the TLC, bro. TLC all the way.
A lot of this is a little sketchy. First of all, it's Chael Sonnen.
Right.
So we don't know how much of this is actually true. However, Vanderlei tweeted that he also has a proposal from the WWE. They're talking he said $1 million.
But did he tweet in English?
No, it was all in Portuguese.
Okay.
Dave Metzler, on the other hand, says, yes, Chael will be there. It is not official sit-down, but he has been invited. He will be talking with them, but it's not like they're negotiating contracts. Dave Metzler's been in the wrestling world for a very long time.
He quotes.
Very long time. So he's saying that part is true. As far as Vanderlei, he says he has no idea.
So ridiculous to me for first off the CM Punk issue. He wanted to walk Sonnen down at Sonnen's fight because what was it? Not WrestleMania. It was Royal Rumble.
Yeah, and this happened in Chicago, which is where CM Punk is from.
Right, and WWE said no.
Yeah.
To walk Sonnen down.
Right, but then they had Triple H go and walk Floyd Mayweather down in their thing so that he can get the paycheck.
And now they want Sonnen to come to the WWE.
Possibly.
So they're saying. Second off, my other biggest problem with this is, we all know wrestling's fake.
Yeah.
Do you think that Sonnen and Juan could fake it? Is there hate for each other that real that they could fake a match?
Might be a few mistakes there.
Well, you had Ken Shamrock face Dan Severn in a WWE-style match over in Japan, so... Possibly. I don't think they were over crazy rivals, I guess, as much as these two are, but they were
as
both
much
professional fighters who went into,
Yeah, they've played it up so well that we definitely believe the hate. If the hate really is as real as they make it seem, then somebody's going to die.
Are they going to tape them and glove them?
They did. Hey, I remember WWE back in the day had their Tough Man competition where they actually taped and gloved their competitors and had...
I remember that too.
Yeah, and actually one of their wrestlers...
It was like an 8-man tournament?
Yeah, one of the wrestlers who thought that it was nobody knew about him actually won. Legitimately knocked out that. 3 of their guys, put away some of their big stars.
Well, when you think it's all fake and then
they were told it's real.
Oh, okay.
They're saying this is going to be a real Tough Man. What they're trying to do, they were trying to compete with somewhat a UFC at the time.
Right.
They wanted to see how it went. They ended up hurting a bunch of their guys who were supposed to work later, and they couldn't because they got legitimately knocked the fuck out. And then this guy they put up against a real boxer, and he got knocked the fuck out, and they were like, well, that's the end of that.
Let's pretend this never happened.
They only did it once.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a good reason.
I wonder if you can find those fights on the WWE channel.
You can.
Can you?
Yeah.
Just like when Sean O'Hare decided he wanted to fight Butterbean. That went really well for him.
Yeah. So then further we have, another class action lawsuit has been filed up against Zuffa.
Does this make number 4?
This is number 4. The new plaintiffs in this one are going to be Mac Danzig and Gabe Rudiger.
Can we sue too?
Why not? I don't think
I
we've
don't
ever
know what for.
We've
but-
never been employed, so maybe not.
Nah.
Although you do have that guy in prison that's trying to sue the NFL for the sake of the Cowboys, saying that it was a catch and that he
Is that still happening?
Yeah.
for $88 million.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because that's Des Bryant's number.
Of course.
I mean, if he can sue from prison.
And again, I know I've already said this, but somebody won against Red Bull because it didn't give you wings. So
I know. I got my voucher.
You see how they did that now?
I don't even drink Red Bull.
You got your free voucher?
But I got a
Red
voucher.
Bull?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 eyes.
huh?
It's got to have full S on the end or 2 eyes.
Really?
Yeah.
And it's wings.
Wings. Yeah. You can't just say it gives you wings.
Yeah, now they have like a whole bunch of extra letters.
Right.
Wow.
Some dummy drank it, jumped off the roof, and sneezed the shit out of them.
So now you can just tell girls I have a huge
Yeah.
Not lying.
Not lying.
Not lying.
You said Gabe Rudiger's. That's Cake Boy, right?
That's Cake Boy. Cake Boy is in on that lawsuit. Like I said, and by the way, Zuffa has decided to take at least the major lawsuit. They want to move it to. They're petitioning to move it to Vegas, which is where they're going to have a little more of a neutral ground instead of being here in California.
Interesting.
The
Yeah,
jet.
I'm sure it's real more neutral there.
Why they don't want to? They don't want to end up in the Ninth Circuit Court. I mean, it's legitimate appeal court, right?
See, they can go to the same place that does my child support.
So we broke the news last week when we were talking at the end of the show that Chris Weidman had to pull out of his fight against Vitor Belfort. That is due to separated ribs.
Right.
He's going to be out for about 6 to 8 weeks. UFC already jumped in and tried to say that they will put in an interim bout. This did not sit well with Chris Weidman. He's very upset. He thinks it's stupid. He says, I don't understand. He says Anthony Pettis was out for a year. Johnny Hendricks is out for like 9 months. Cain Velasquez, they did an interim trial, but he was out for how long? Like a year and a half? I've been out 6 months. I get an injury. It's going to take 6 to 8 weeks. I think them doing an interim belt is kind of crazy. I kind of agree with him.
I kind of think it's disrespectful.
To him? Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a little much. Now, the people that they offered Vitor for an interim belt was Mousasi and Machida.
Both legitimate fighters.
Both legitimate fighters, both in the top 10. We have Machida sitting at number 3 and Mousasi sitting at number 7.
Should have jumped.
They offered him that fight, and they immediately, first they talked to Lyoto, and Lyoto said, I don't care what you're talking about, just sign me up. The minute that's according to Dana White.
I like the money.
Vitor turned both fights down. Said that no, he didn't want to fight either of them. He wants to instead fight Yoel Romero or Mark Munoz because they are wrestlers like Chris Weidman. He feels that makes more sense. However,
any way you can validate your excuse, bro.
Mark Munoz isn't even ranked right now in the top 10. Yoel Romero is in the top 6. However, I just don't see that being a fair enough fight other than the other two guys that they offered him. Then he says,
they offered. You said Mousasi, right?
They offered Mousasi, who just came
below.
off. But at the time wasn't. He just came off of a win over Dan Henderson, so I think his ranking is going to actually move up.
Yeah, but how long ago did Vitor fight?
Yeah.
He hasn't fought in over 2 years, right?
That's the thing is, I think this is the worst
been a
idea for
while.
Vitor because the longer Vitor waits, the more tests he has to take and try to pass. And he's not known for taking tests and passing very well.
He's got Jesus, bro. He's got Jesus.
So,
He's okay.
and then he says, I don't want to do an interim at all. I want the real belt. I'll just wait.
Like you said, more tests you got to pass, bud. Good luck.
I mean, how... do you think the UFC kind of... Like you do. You think the UFC kind of jumped the gun and trying to do an interim belt right away?
100%. I mean, if they're going to let Dominic Cruz sit out for almost 3 years, granted they did the interim after his second year, and they're like, okay, we need a year.
Right.
You got to have a champion.
Yeah, and they...
But they made the rule a year, right?
That's when they made it.
Right.
It's the Dominic Cruz rule.
Right.
And so now to just go back on that and be like, oh, well, 6 more weeks, we can't handle that. When technically he's been out for 6 months. Why? Was that a medical suspension?
Yeah.
6 more weeks. Pokes at Tony Phil told him, I seen my shadow, bro. Got to do an interim belt.
That's exactly what it is.
Another fight that was talked about, this was at the end of this weekend's fight, is they asked him about GSP. He says, I called GSP, I asked him if he wanted to fight on a certain card. I believe he was talking about the UFC 185 since Chris Weidman's out. He said no.
I'm not impressed with your phone call.
Hasn't even started training yet. He is not interested in fighting yet.
I'm not in a gym yet, Dana.
I'm still partying with all the hoes.
A fight, though, that was announced is Benson Henderson is going to step up and fight. He's going to move to welterweight at 170, which is something he's talked about doing before, temporarily to take on Brandon Thatch as the original opponent has fallen out of that bout. This will be going down UFC Fight Night in Colorado on Valentine's Day.
I was going to say it's like 2 weeks away, isn't it? Or
Yeah,
a week away?
that'll be Valentine's Day. So, and then he says he'll go back to 155.
Yeah. He was pretty mad, remember?
He was very upset.
He wanted a
about
fight
the Donald
now.
Cerrone thing, so he wanted to fight.
He's got to get
immediately.
that aggression out, man.
I think he's basically understood what Don Cerrone's doing. He's like, I'll just take any fight anywhere. I don't care. Let's do it.
Oh yeah, you seen the Donner Cerrone shirt where it says he's like, "Yeah, I'll take that fight." What was that guy's name?
Yeah. John Fitch failed his drug test. This was from World Series of Fighting 16 when he lost to Paul Harris. He has failed his post-fight drug test for elevated levels of testosterone.
Shocking.
Is it?
I mean, not for him, yeah, because he's boring.
Right? You think it would have helped him in the fight?
Let me ask you something. Do you guys
testosterone would have jacked you up? You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
I'd like to think that
And
it
instead,
would.
it just makes him more Ben Askren.
Give me some of that.
Yeah, ask him about his testing.
Do you guys do testing for this for the kickboxing for the Away the Warrior?
No.
All right.
He told me earlier they're
Come on.
they're doing feces test, and I was like, what?
Yeah, we don't do urine tests anymore.
But come to find out, he's talking shit.
Literally.
Anal probes out.
Did you go to the bathroom in this cup? What movie was that? They all come out with like cups full of urine, and then the stoner walks out with a big old turd in it.
Yeah.
It's like a ski movie. I can't remember what it's called though.
Hot dog? Was it hot dog?
No. It was really, really, really bad.
Snow Patrol 2.
Or possibly
Something like that. No.
Ski School 7.
Right. Cody McKenzie is unretiring to fight at World Series of Fighting.
I'm so
How
sick
does
of
that
this.
work?
He's going to be fighting this Thursday, in fact.
Who's his manager? Gene Simmons? No, really. We're retired.
Ross Perot.
I'm in. I'm out.
Yeah. If you're older than us, you'll get that joke. If you're younger, just forget it. Go ask your parents.
So are you excited to see Cody McKenzie and the McKenzie team come back?
McKenzie team, he might actually have some success for a while in World Series of Fighting, so go ahead.
You don't care?
Get your paychecks.
No, I mean, he was a one-trick pony, man. I was never really impressed with him.
All right, and then
But I'd be doing the same thing. Like if I was a fighter and I fell out of the UFC because I wasn't pulling weight, and the World Series of Fighting offered me money to do something.
Well,
okay.
that's what happens with all the lower level.
It's
exactly
up for grabs.
It's been a cold winter in Alaska.
Yeah, I would have him on like a phone tree. It'd be like World Series of Fighting, King of the Cage, Rage in the Cage.
It's like, I mean, open my fridge and see how much food I have left.
Exactly.
And if it's getting down to just bread, then I'm
condiments.
then I'm calling anybody.
Next fight.
I'll be fighting at the fair.
Yeah,
Against a bear?
yeah, 100%. Just a little one though. It's not
And it's on a chain.
Yeah, it's not a full size polar bear.
He hasn't trained for a while.
Yeah, he hasn't trained for a little bit.
He's retarded.
So then
He'll probably test positive for weed anyway.
So then we have UFC 183 happen over the weekend. You get a chance to watch the fights. You were in Vegas.
I was in
Did
Vegas.
you get the fights? Did you get into the fights?
I did not hear. Okay, weird ass weekend in Vegas, man. I wanted to buy tickets, but for even remotely decent seats, it was $530, which I didn't have. And at that point in time,
Didn't get up on the blackjack table?
no, of course not. I don't. I'm Joey. I don't win, bro. But when I had the opportunity to get media passes, my girl was going to come with me.
Right.
And then when the window closed for media passes, my girl decided she wasn't coming with me, so I could no longer get media passes. And the tickets were $530. I get out to Vegas, and I saw Nick Diaz out there. We can talk about that later.
No, we can't.
Yeah, we totally can. And then the night of the fights roll around, or no, it's Friday night, and I get to go hang out with one of my buddies who's like a legit rock star out in Vegas. And I'm hanging out with all these record people, so like all these people who know people, everybody has connections. And word comes up that one of the guys got contacted by somebody who worked for the UFC, had 5 ringside tickets that are going for like $2,000 on StubHub, but he works for the UFC. He's like, I can't sell these for more than their face value. I just want to get rid of them. $250 a piece, because I guess he was probably losing at the tables or something.
Right.
$250 a piece for ringside. So the thing is, the guy who got the call, he said, I have to sell all of them at once or none at all. So this guy's trying to network with people to get it.
Why didn't you just walk the strip?
Dude,
You take your 2 tickets and you walk the fucking strip and be like, $250. Who wants to sit with me? You're my new best friend.
I think this guy was losing at the tables and needed somebody to bring him money. Yeah. And so the guy who got the call couldn't get enough people together to buy all 5 tickets. I was like, bro, I would have bought all 5 of them myself.
Yeah.
I'll scalp them.
Yeah.
Not that I condone that, but I don't condemn it when I need money,
And
Don't
seats.
condone.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? And I was just like, it's unbelievable. So he called the guy back, and the guy was like, they're gone. So then I'm talking,
Of course, yeah, they're gone.
Of course,
Hell yeah.
So then I'm talking to my rock star buddy. He's like, well, my 2 guys are here that are basically their job is to get my friend whatever he asks for. And so they're like, oh yeah, we'll look for you. So they get on their phones. They can't find any. And then, sure enough, the guy who's handling our night, who's in charge of getting us from place to place and making sure that everybody's taken care of, it was like a high roller night in Vegas. It was really cool. I felt very special. Turns out that at least he says, he is like the legit gaming commissioner's son.
Right.
He's like, my dad quit his job when this started blowing up in Las Vegas to go and take care of this, to like be in the game, to be the gaming commissioner for this.
KIZZ?
And I'm like, that's really cool. I have his card at my house.
Keith KIZZ?
His son's name is Tyler. That's all I have his card at my house. And so I don't know if his dad is in the commission or is the commissioner, how it works. And I'm like, well, can your dad get tickets? and like none. They were all gone.
Yeah, he's probably like 2 weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah, they were just gone.
It's
so,
night of, bro.
Yeah. So nobody could get tickets. But it had boobies in my face at the strip club. The Sapphire's fun. You should go there. Because Disco Inferno is actually a floor manager.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm like, why does this guy look so familiar? We walked by me like 4 times. I'm like, who is this dude?
I heard that, actually.
Yeah.
You know what else I heard? Buff Bagwell is now a male escort.
Oh yeah, that's 100% true. I ordered him, honey. No, seriously though, I was walking on Sapphire and I'm like, why does this guy look so familiar? I should not know a floor manager at a strip club in Las Vegas. And finally, the next day, we were at one of the conferences, and one of the guys, I forget his real name, it's like Gil Gilberti or something like that. He's like, dude, did you see Gil Gilberti? I'm like, I don't know who that is, but there's a really familiar guy there last night. He's like, dude, that's Disco Inferno. I'm like, what?
Did he have the sideburns?
No, dude. He was
That's why.
Yeah,
That's why.
That's why. He was totally cleaned up, but the guy knew his real name. So when he was looking down at us,
Chubby Elvis.
we were all getting like lap dances and shit. And he's like looking down, and one of the guy who was getting lap dances looked at him and went,
Disco.
"Hey, you're Gil Gilberti." And the guy was like, how the fuck do you know my real name? So no, didn't get to go to the fights.
So where did you watch the fights?
We watched the fights. Basically, I paid for all of us to get into a bar because it was really cold that night, and we got to see the fights. In a bar with about 700 other people and capacity of 150.
Nice.
It was fun.
Good times. Good times.
That's cool.
So what'd you think of the fights?
The ones I got to see, Joe Lauzon put up a hell of a fight, but I mean. Got his ass kicked. It was.
I actually think the Fight Pass fights were pretty good.
Fight Pass fights are pretty good. We
got to saw when we weren't getting kicked off.
Yeah, we weren't getting kicked off. Thanks, Matt.
So we'll start off with Thiago Santos up against Andy Enns. This one was first round finish with TKO via punches. You guys saw that one?
Yep.
So how did Thiago Santos look?
Look strong, man.
Look strong. I mean, first round TKO.
Yep.
And then Idemar Alcantara went up against Richardson Moreira.
Split decision. It was pretty back and forth. Kind of a slow fight.
Yeah. Again, it could have gone. Yeah.
And then kicking off your preliminary card, you had Rafael Natal going up against Tom Watson.
Listening to Joe Rogan talk about Tom Watson drove me insane because he wanted to constantly call him. He is England's most exciting fighter,
and we never saw it.
And I never saw anything exciting from Tom Watson other than his dodgy fucking haircut.
Maybe that speaks volumes for England's most exciting fighter, right?
They need to start testing Rogan before.
He already said there's no way he could ever fight because he would break the testing machine, like you said, like Bugs Bunny hitting a mallet on one of those, bell machines in a cartoon.
John Lineker went up against Ian McCall, another UD.
Yeah, this was a catchweight at 130 as Lineker couldn't make weight, and Dana White says now he will have to move up another weight class. Lineker even said possibly in his post-fight 2 weight classes.
Wow.
Because he has trouble making the weight so much. He did win that fight. It was a pretty... I wouldn't say lopsided, but I would say it was unexciting decision win. And at the end, he ended up mocking Ian McCall, who was calling him fat
belly.
by rubbing his belly, knowing that he won. So
I thought he wanted the belt.
So with your Way of the Warrior, again, it's going down to Modesto, February 21st. If you want to watch some legit kickboxing, how do the weight classes work differently than they do in, say, like the UFC?
Weight classes are pretty close to the same. You have your different standards, but boxing, it's the same exact as boxing, and like they'll vary. Like your super heavyweights are 235 and up. Your super heavyweights are that and down to like 196, and then they'll vary from there. Feather lightweights,
that's a pretty big gap. That's like a 30-pound gap between like heavyweight to super heavyweight.
Yeah, they'll get up there.
Now,
plus, remember, don't forget to go to Bookies to get your tickets.
Go to Bookies to get your tickets if you're in the Central Valley, and that's on Stanford and Prescott, right?
Prescott.
What's the heaviest weight class you got going?
I was just going to ask
I got one of the bouts in there is a super heavyweight where I've got one guy who's 250 and the other's 275.
Yeah,
I got one.
Now you've seen these guys. Are they like a fat 250 and fat 275? Or they must
Well, I know that one guy is in pretty good shape, but these guys will surprise you.
Are we like really Alistair body type, or are we talking Roy Nelson body type?
Or Big Ben Rothwell, right in the middle.
Yeah, right in the middle.
It'd be between Rockwell and
nobody's gonna look like Alistair Overeem out there.
Look like Alistair. If I put the boys on roids, they would.
No, horse meat, sir. Horse meat.
But,
I'll tell you right now, if you got anybody who's built like Alistair there, I'm not bringing my girlfriend.
No, I wouldn't do that. No. But we have these heavyweight guys, and they're training because they're coming from. The good thing about this is the schools that they're coming from. They're coming from some of the top gyms here in California, from all over the area. You got them from Fresno, you got them from Bakersfield, Concord, Modesto, of course, Turlock, of course, Fairfield, South San Francisco, Bakersfield, Milpitas, all over, and they're really. It's going to be great.
You got anybody coming from out of state? Reno, Idaho?
No, I haven't pushed to that yet.
Yeah,
I've had offers. I actually had 5 or 6 that are interested.
Right.
But I want to keep this in the beginning as a local thing because when we get about 4 fights down the road, I want to start doing a championship series.
See, I like how you talk. When we get 4 or 5 fights down the road, I like that.
Yeah.
It's like the guys who did the mixed martial arts fight in Modesto at the Modesto Center Plaza years ago. We're like, oh yeah, we're going to do another one in 3 months.
See,
And
that's
they disappeared.
They didn't. That's the whole thing. But see, I'm local. I live here. I work here. I know my people. I love my people. This is our town. This is for our town. It stays in our town.
And people need to realize, I mean, if you look just in the UFC, Northern California sends tons of fighters.
Oh yeah,
does. It
absolutely.
does.
Well, I mean, we have so many gyms just around here.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, do you have anybody from AKA?
Yes.
Just curious because it's American Kickboxing Academy. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing is I've actually have coaches who were associated with them before that now have their own schools.
Oh, okay. Very
So
cool.
it's like Fairtex. I've got people associated with them, and then
I have a Fairtex shirt.
Does it still fit?
No.
we'll come down to the gym. We'll make it fit. But yeah, it's gonna be a really good night. It's gonna be an exciting night. It's gonna be a fun night. I really look forward to it.
February 21st in Modesto, Bad to the Bones Gym.
That's
So
right.
what's the website that we can go to for this?
You can go directly to actually my email because the website isn't open yet.
And that is 5-star Elite Championship
Yes.
at gmail.com.
Correct.
You know what an acronym is, right?
Right. Or any other information you could or possibly find out about is you can go on the IKF website, and it's also got information under the events.
You might want to just get like FSEC at gmail.com just to make it
Quick
easier.
typing. Quick typing.
I like that long stuff.
I'll just put a link. You can just click the link.
Man, you guys are beating me down.
Just like Derek Brunson
I was
beat
gonna say,
down
jumping into the
Ed
deck and Ed.
Herman, 36 seconds of the first round.
Ridiculous.
Short fuse, Tito didn't pick me,
Yeah.
lost again.
Yep.
That's too bad, man.
This guy can't catch a break, man.
Not
Not that I really care.
Not
but-
you really care.
What did you end up going for your picks?
I actually wrote it down here. I think I did 6-5. Still in the positive, baby. Still in the positive.
Wow, man, you are sliding.
Well, hey, it was in his defense. There was a lot of people who showed up and didn't do what they
Yeah,
usually
and I
do.
went and halfway. I'm like, it's going the other way.
Yeah.
Like in the right before the fight happened, I'm like, shit.
I was gonna do a parlay card.
I picked the wrong guy.
for this fight, and I was like, oh no, I think I can figure this out. And I was looking for someone to tell me how to do a parlay for MMA at the Mandalay. And I'm glad I didn't because I actually picked Joe Lauzon to win.
And did you turn down a $7 bet for $750? Is that what I seen?
No,
Is that what that side bet?
it was $175.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
For $7.
No, I got some advice on the game that I didn't take.
Right.
Yeah, so,
happens.
well, he wasn't sure about it when he gave it to me though. So it's bullshit. That's bullshit.
That'll
He's
get
like,
you.
if I had to guess, I mean, maybe this could happen. And then when it happened, he's like, oh, see, I told you so. I'm like,
Yeah,
motherfucker.
right. But it was $7.
I didn't know it was $7 either. He just said pick the over on this. I don't know anything about betting on sports, so unless it's MMA.
Right.
So I picked the over for what? $20? I wish I fucking would have now.
Misha Tate over Sarah McMahon. This was a fight that I thought Sarah McMahon could have won. I mean, she definitely dominated the first round, and then after that, Misha just took over and was able to basically take it to Sarah McMahon and take away this fight.
Maybe a condition.
But, however, one of these judges did score it to a draw. It was a majority decision, 29-28, 29-27, and 28-28.
With judges' decisions.
That's and
People who sit
you
at
being the
table,
commish.
who watch.
That's what we need to ask you.
Yeah, I'm telling you straight up. People sitting in a chair, it makes me really angry. It does. If you haven't done it, how do you judge it?
Do you guys go over?
We do. We
do you
go
guys
over
talk to
rules
them at all
the
before
time.
it starts?
Judges?
Yeah.
I have nothing to do with that. I mean,
But I mean,
I'm
does-
different. I do inspecting, so it's a
But
whole
I mean,
different
does
deal.
somebody sit down with these people and tell them what they're looking for? I mean,
Yeah, they're told.
They're
but there
supposed to have already
they
known
are
that. Yeah.
Right now, one big thing in the commission is Andy Foster being in there. He is a complete stickler about the rules, okay? He is emphatic that each person who does work for the commission, and I'm not just saying this because I work there and, I want the work.
Right.
The guy is emphatic in each person knowing exactly what they have to do. He's a stat freak. He gets into the stats on how they're calling, and he looks at the averages, and he figures out. He gets really deep, and he's a very intelligent individual as far as coming to this. And he knows what these guys should be calling as far as reading the fights. And boxing is a big thing because, we can go there all day and discuss that.
Right.
That corrupt, whatever. Anyway, but and he really works with these guys. That's why sometimes I see some of these things and I don't understand what's going through these people's head. But like I said again, I believe besides telling them visually what they do, once in a while they should either get involved and for more understanding.
That's one of the things that makes Herb Dean such a good ref. With his fight experience.
Right.
Yeah, he definitely has the experience there.
Yeah, I've seen him beat up by many a woman, so he's real. Herb's a good guy. Herb's a really good guy.
No, but it just seems like a lot of these people, when somebody wins the first, and then it's ho-hum the second, it's whoever put forth the effort, and then the third.
Well, there's a lot of things involved. It's you got one thing with the guy going forward, and even with the guy going backwards, how's he working that defense? Is he angulating? Is he not taking the shots? How was his conditioning good? And there's just so many factors. There's a lot of factors. And sometimes you look at these guys and you go, is that guy fucking sleeping during the goddamn fight or what?
Or if it's Cecil Peoples, it gives it to the hot dog vendor. Who fucking knows?
That debate there.
Well, I mean, that's why they use the must. That's why they use the must system. It's like that's why it's so difficult to score this because it's like, well, somebody has to win that.
Okay,
round.
like John had said, he's like, well, how many significant strikes equal a takedown?
Yeah.
See, now that's another thing. You've got guys you see who get into these fights and then the strictly work on the takedown and the hang on, and they wait for the break. Takedown and hang on, takedown and hang on, takedown and hang. The other guy's boom, so he's no good on the ground. The guy who's getting the takedowns, taking all that damage, going to win that fight every time. I swear, to me, I see it over 90%.
Yeah, but then like we said too, there's guys who will give up the takedown to get position,
and land some strikes.
So
jumping onto the main card now for the pay-per-view, Thiago Alves going up against Jordan Maine. Thiago Alves.
It's Alves.
Thiago
Don't
Alves.
say Alves.
Alves.
There it is. We're sorry.
Alves.
He's Portuguese, bro.
Alves.
So is my friend Steve Alves that I work with at Dot Food. So what? He says Alves.
This is Thiago Alves.
I don't care.
And what did I say? Hey, this fight be won with the kicks. And Thiago Alves' kickboxing and kicks are always vicious. He was able to shut him down with a kick to the gut.
But he was not.
He was a little tentative at first. He definitely was.
He was not winning the game at this point.
Mean was definitely hanging on in the first round and could have easily won that first round. But Thiago was taking it to him in the second.
By taking the shot.
Talis Lidas, man, winning performance of the night as well as fight of the night up against Tim Boach, winning this in the second round with a technical submission, arm triangle choke. It was the second arm triangle choke he went for. The first one was to the left. The second one he finally got around to the white and actually used the side of the cage for leverage.
I like that. It's like a cinch down move.
Yeah. And then just lifted himself up to put the leverage and took out Tim Boach.
In there. I saw that I saw the gif of that on Reddit.
It was a great fight.
Ally Quinta going up against Joe Lauzon. This was a fight that a lot of people on Reddit were saying was just like, damn, it was hard to watch Joe take this beating.
Yeah. Joe took a lot of damage, man.
And then we're like, what, are you going to call it?
Yeah, please call it.
That's what a lot of people online were
saying.
Please
call it. He's on roller skates and like slipping all over the place.
I don't know who was the ref on that one.
It was pretty. Yeah, I felt bad for Joe. Yeah.
And then Tyrone Woodley up against Kevin Gastelum. This was an interesting fight.
Mm-hmm. I was super disappointed in this fight.
Interesting how.
Kevin Gastelum.
Because of the split decision.
You want to see more.
I would have given him a draw.
Yeah.
So would the crowd.
I probably would have too. But a split decision, I think I even called it in the bar. I said it's going to be a split for Woodley. Watch.
Well, look, you had that one damn judge you called 30-27.
Gastelum, first of all, missed weight by 9 fucking pounds.
9 pounds, yeah.
So he will have to definitely go up in weight class, according to Dana White. They will not allow him to try to do this again because that's ridiculous. Now, he's only missed weight one time before that, and it was only by 1 pound.
That should be a standard rule.
On his second attempt, he did make weight. However, he did have trouble making weight that first time. However, 9 fucking pounds is a little much. Obviously, his former trainer Dolce said that it's his own fault. It's something that he needs to do. He said he didn't want to hire Dolce again because it was too expensive.
I'm surprised they let him fight after he had to go to the hospital.
Yeah, he did have to go to the hospital to get rehydrated. The doctor did clear him to fight. He was able to go through with it. And then again,
and still fight.
Tyrone Woodley take this fight. Got 30% of his purse.
Stays in Nevada.
So Tyrone Woodley just walked away with a bunch of cash from this fight.
Yeah, he ended, I think,
50
139,000. He got 65 That includes a 65 for the win bonus, and also
That's why he gave him the $9,000 back.
Yeah,
he was
$9,000
"Here, you know
was
what?"
fine. He goes, I know.
I
how
wonder
it
if he
is.
still had to pay taxes on it.
He
though.
straight up said, "I know how it is
a good
to
question.
not have to have food on the table or whatever, and have to,
No
Really,
state
Tyrone
tax.
Woodley did that.
Yep." And said, "I will give him his $9,000 back."
Good guy, Tyrone Woodley.
Yep. And then of course we have our main event:
Oh God.
Anderson Silva versus Nick Diaz, and what a fight we had!
Drug wars.
Well, before we get into the aftermath of the fight, let's talk about the fight as it actually happened. Twitter was aflame. We had a lot of interesting tweets that I like here. We got number one: Nick Diaz is the only man to fight BJ Penn, George St. Pierre, and Anderson Silva. That's an awesome fact.
That is an awesome
That's a
fact.
pretty awesome fact for him. They were talking obviously about Diaz's taunting.
And lose to all three of them.
It's true, but he did put up a fight
Now,
in all three of those
now
fights.
realistically.
No, he beat BJ Penn and
Yeah,
beat
he
him
beat-
badly.
Yeah, he did.
He
in
retired
Hawaii.
BJ Penn.
In Hawaii.
All right.
Okay, 2 for 1.
I was going to say, if he lost all three, I could do the same fucking thing.
He taunted the shit out of Anderson Silva in that first round.
That was amazing. It was hilarious.
He twerked in front of him, basically let him stand there.
Hey,
Bro.
but in his
He'd lay
defense,
down and have him paint him like one of the French
but in
girls.
his
It was
defense,
nice.
he chased him for 2
He
minutes
did chase, yeah.
and looked at the ref like,
What
"What are we
is-
doing here?"
What are we doing here? And they asked him what was he saying to him constantly, and he responded with, "I was telling you're Anderson Silva, fucking hit me. You're Anderson Silva. You're supposed to be able to hit me. What are you doing? You're Anderson Silva. You're supposed to be the greatest. Come on. Put himself up against the cage, just like Anderson did against Stephan Bonner, and told him to hit him. Anderson wouldn't do it. Left him his back, gave him free shots. Anderson would not strike. Now, they did finally get into some striking where it was pretty interesting. I thought Diaz was actually doing a decent job. He wasn't doing amazing. There were flashes of Anderson that looked like the Anderson of the past, but he did not look like the greatest of all time that he used to. He definitely, in my opinion, he looked really flat. I mean,
Yeah. Well,
now, mind you, a layoff and a big leg injury will do that to you, but for Diaz to give him so many opportunities to actually
Yeah, and when
do something
but
and
when
he
Anderson
did
Silva
nothing.
finally did something, then
Yeah.
Diaz regretted it.
Yeah, the
You can see
third.
by the time
In the third.
Yeah, you can see his face when he came up with the third. He was like, "Well, shit, now I don't know what to do."
I really think a lot of it had to do with the cut, though. And I know Diaz, obviously, every time he's gotten in a fight, that's one of his biggest worries is the cut. I mean, the guy had fucking elective surgery to shave down his eyebrow ridges
Right.
because he did not want to lose a fight due to a cut.
Right.
He's never been knocked out, and he even said when he hit me, it wasn't like I was getting knocked out. He's like, I knew I was bleeding, and I knew it was bad.
I think it's his diet. He just has thin skin from his diet. He's not a big meat eater.
He's got a lot of scar tissue.
A lot
Yeah.
of scar tissue.
But still, I mean, here's what I told.
When I saw Diaz throwing in some of those pitter patter strikes and getting actually Anderson in the clinch, I was impressed. To me, that was impressive.
I'm not saying it wasn't a fun fight, and it was enjoyable to watch. And the bar that I was at was, on their feet,
Going crazy.
But one of the things I said to one of the guys outside before the fight even started, I was having a smoke, and he said, "Well, what do you think about this fight?" I said, "Well, let's go back 2 years ago, and both these guys were completely active before
Yep.
the injury, before the layoff for Nick Diaz, before all that stuff. Nick Diaz was never on Anderson Silva's level. No. This fight was a money
Not
fight.
even close.
This was a fight for the fans. This was a fight for the money. This was not a fight for rankings.
No.
Nick Diaz was never supposed to win this fight.
No.
Diaz throwing a lot of syllables at Anderson. Like that. Holy Isaac Billy flag. Holy fuck, Nick is on another level with this shit. Will Brooks, what the fuck is happening right now? It's amazing. You keep being you, Nick. These kids are crazy. I want this fight never to end. This is everything we thought it could be and more.
Who the hell tweeted that?
Let's see.
Somebody
Dan
was on
Hardy.
drugs.
Nick Diaz is my new favorite fighter.
All right.
I got sad after
he's
the
got a
third.
lot of fans.
The
John
third
Jones is
failed
cheering.
attempt at a takedown. That's when I was just like, oh man.
That's when I was like, Diaz is done. He doesn't know what
yeah,
to do.
he's not.
Derek
getting him
Brunson.
down.
I swear every
Exactly.
fighter in this card that's in the back right now is saying this is an amazing fight. What a great fight to be a fanboy of. I mean, everybody.
Fanboy in
Everybody
quotes.
is going in there.
I don't know. I think in the heat of the moment, a lot of people were just caught up with the fact that it was Nick Diaz, who's a fan favorite, fighing Anderson Silva,
Exactly.
who's the GOAT. But really, looking at it,
It did not turn out what was expected.
well, no, it did. I think it really did. I think it's
Think
exactly
so?
how. The only thing that Nick did that wasn't expected was he didn't lose before the end of the fifth round.
And that's what I was glad. I was glad he didn't get knocked out.
But there was no way he was going to
I
win
told
this
you.
fight.
See,
Gonna go to
I
decision.
honestly thought
You're not gonna knock
more
out
toe to
Diaz.
toe.
You're not going to knock out Diaz, but
You
Silva
know,
could.
I thought
mean,
they
he
would
could
get
have
toe to
possibly
toe
choked
and he
him.
would get him
I'm
up
not
there.
saying
You think he could have choked them?
it's possible.
I think you're underestimating Diaz's ground.
No, I
compared
think
to-
Diaz has an amazing ground game.
And-
I'm just saying it's possible. It's possible. I'm surprised they didn't win the decision.
Neither one of them did
Eclipse
it.
is possible.
No.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah,
one judge did give round 4 to Diaz.
that's what I don't believe.
That's where we got.
I can't believe that the judges all decided, other than one, that he didn't get one round.
I actually gave him. I know it's shitty to say, but I gave him round 1 and 4. 1 specifically because he actually threw more punches than Anderson, who stood around going like, "Why is he dancing? Why is he making fun? Nobody makes fun of me. I'm supposed to make fun of people." Yeah. And I would give that to Diaz. He at least did something.
Well, was that the round that the judge gave to him? Or he gave
no,
him 4?
They gave him 4. They gave Anderson round 1, which I don't know. Yeah. It's very, very interesting.
And I give him points too because he actually got Anderson pissed off.
Oh, he definitely got Anderson pissed off.
For sure he did. But the whole time I was thinking that when I was watching this fight was the scene out of Fast and Furious, the first one. Dude, I almost had you.
Yeah.
No. You never had me. You never had your car. And that's how I felt watching this fight. Yeah, it was fun. It was great for the fans. This is one of those fan fights. That's fantastic. But, I mean, ultimately, it's all it was. It was for show. It was for the UFC to get paid.
Anderson, after that fight, obviously there was mutual respect. I like Diaz going over to Anderson, crying his tears of joy that he won the fight. Diaz picked him up and said, "Don't cry. You're the man. You're Anderson Silva. Come on, you don't need to do this." But even then he said, I don't know what the judges are watching. He's like, because I at least did something. He's all, somebody's going to give me a free shot. I'm sure as hell going to fucking take it. I don't know why he wouldn't do it. So it was very interesting to see how the judges fight. And then he even said, but he's like, they don't like it when I do that kind of shit. When I talk shit and when I taunt people, they're never going to give me the fight. So they're just, the judges are not going to give me the fight. And, then it comes down to Anderson pretty much in the cage said he didn't know if he was going to continue to fight. He was going to talk to his family, talk to his sons.
What did they get paid on that fight?
That could have been the last one that they do. Nick got $500,000.
Well, nobody's going to quit.
Well,
than 800,000. 800,000 in South America where he lives is like $5 million.
Yeah, Nick Diaz won't fight anybody for less than 5 now.
Nick Diaz, Dana White said we don't know what happened to Nick Diaz. He may not come back for 3 years after the money he made. And then, however, we
That's
do have
a lot of weed, man.
We do have what happened after. This fight happened January 31st, February 3rd. Everybody got news that both guys failed their drug test.
Which is no shocker for Nick.
Nick Diaz failed his drug test due to marijuana.
They should have expected that.
He failed the test multiple times. He did pass and was licensed January 28th, 3 days before the fight.
It was his
on them.
Yeah, it was his lowest metabolite level so far.
But it was still above the 150.
Which they raised for fucking him.
I know.
It used to be 10.
I know.
It used to be 10, and they raised it to 150
before the fight instead of a half a pound.
And so he was 30
I'm vaping,
to 1.
Man. Give me a break. I'm vaping, dude.
This is dabbing, dude.
They said they don't think it's very public that Nick smokes marijuana. He wasn't stoned during the fight. However, he was over on his metabolites.
Even if he was stoned, 185-pound dude on fucking steroids couldn't beat a 170-pound stoner.
Yes, with Anderson Silva failing his pre-fight drug test for 2 banned substances.
Which he's protesting now.
He is definitely protesting, yeah.
They're blaming the doctor.
They're blaming all kinds of
Cocaine
stuff.
is not performance enhancing.
That's what kills me.
I just chewed the leaves.
Is fucking Jones. They're like, Jones right now is going, yeah, everybody totally forgetting about me.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Yeah.
When did they have the results of the steroids?
They forgot.
They didn't find. That's the problem. The test was from January 19th, but the fight was the 31st. They didn't get the test results until the 3rd when they released them. They were supposed to get them ahead of time. They did not. It happened to be given after.
Well, of course it
They're
happened.
saying
of course it happened. Oops.
There is big conspiracy theorists going on. The Mass State Athletic Commission says there's absolutely no way. He's like, we were trying to get the results. They were supposed to be here. There was a holiday in between. It ends up happening where we got the test afterwards. However,
Gene's in here making elongated jerk-off motions.
They've already changed. They've already changed the fight to a no contest, so neither guys are going to get their win.
Wow.
They are going to be allegedly suspending Anderson Silva. It could be up to a year. There are preliminary and an actual hearing to find out what is going on. Dana White says that Anderson Silva will still be the coach for Ultimate Fighter Brazil against Mauricio Shogun Rua until proven otherwise that that the tests are wrong. They have multiple samples that they do have to go through to make sure that the tests were in fact positive. His post-fight drug test we won't know for a little while. He did take another test right before the fight. The post-fight was negative, but he did take another test on the 19th, and they do not know if that one is positive.
This one's from the 9th, not the 19th, right?
Right.
Okay.
They have 2. Yeah. So he took a
you
test
said
on
19th
the 9th
earlier. I thought it was the 9th.
The 9th he got tested,
and they didn't get those results back till the 3rd.
And it was the positive.
That's such
the
bullshit.
19th. The 19th they didn't have. The one of the tests they do have, and he's negative.
Here's my take on it. This is what I think.
Anderson says he's not taking anything. He's never has. However, he has stated previously before that if any guy should ever get caught with steroids, he's an advocate for a clean sport. They should retire immediately. So,
Bye.
if he gets busted, is he going to be a man up to his own words and retire?
Yeah, but
We'll see.
what was Chael saying when Wanderlei got busted?
Right.
Yeah.
He kept
And then when
going.
it happened to him, he's like, "Hey,
Man.
I'm trying to have a kid."
I need it.
This is my life.
Chael
man.
has come out and said, hey, if you've been busted, he's like, I'm the first one to tell you you've been busted, which means your whole career is going to be tarnished.
Well, the problem that I have here isn't even so much with Anderson Silva, because obviously we see this kind of stuff happen all the time. Just get an asterisk, get a no contest, do whatever you're going to do. My problem, I think, is bigger than this. And even though they're saying it's ludicrous claims of a cover-up, from a test that happened on the 9th, they didn't get the results back till the 3rd, which is complete bullshit. But my biggest problem here, and this is why I think it's kind of a cover-up, is because of the whole John Jones thing, where Dana White said, look, cocaine is not banned out of competition. Had he tested positive in competition, he would not have been able to fight.
Right.
Now, if he would have... And I'm
PEDs,
paraphrasing here.
yep.
Had he tested for PEDs on this test,
We
would have pulled the fight.
Yep.
Oh, really? And now we got a guy who tested pre-fight for PEDs.
Yeah, but we didn't get the results till after.
Yeah, we lost the results till after.
Cocaine
Because he
is
couldn't
a
go
hell
back
of a
on that.
drug.
He just said, almost around the exact same time that,
Yep.
that Anderson Silva was testing positive on the 9th. That's probably around the exact same time where Dana White's on his microphone going, well, if it was a PED, we'd have to pull the fight. Oh, shit, we can't pull the fight.
Hey, if you're an exec at Reebok, what are you doing right now?
Who gives a shit? He doesn't want to rep your shit anyway. He wants to rep Nike.
No, but I'm just saying. You know,
We talked
you're
about
backing
that.
you're backing crooks.
Yeah, what did I just sign on to?
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. I actually said it on the show this week, too. And I'm like, dude, Reebok's got to be just tripping right now.
Yeah, and
Yes.
how many sport books are calling people? Hey, you need to bring that money back. It wasn't a legit win.
Right?
Because isn't Reebok supposed
It
to
doesn't-
be going to exclusive for UFC?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they signed that deal.
Yeah.
Nick Diaz has tweeted. Actually, it was on his Instagram today. It was a group picture of him in the gym, and he basically said, "Love my people. Hashtag MMA Lodi done fighting."
Done fighting.
That could just mean he's done with that fight.
Right.
I'm done fighting for the day.
Yeah.
But then he was hanging out with Tommy Chong at the swap meet, fucking
Of course he was.
slanging weed papers, pimping out. I don't know if it was Tommy Chong's company or what, but
Yeah, Tommy's got his
Yeah,
own
it's
rolling
his
papers.
company.
is that what it is? Yes.
Yeah, bombs
So,
and rolling paper.
yeah, Nick was there wearing the logo on a sweatshirt and hanging out with Tommy Chong. Put the picture on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not hurting. We
Went
found
to
it.
Tommy's concert.
You weren't here, but we found his net worth for 2014 was $3 million.
Yeah, I know he's not hurting.
Diaz.
Diaz.
Yeah.
He just likes to bark a lot.
So, okay, do you feel that this will tarnish Anderson Silva's entire career?
No.
It doesn't. His legacy at all?
No.
You don't think at any time, even though he's been clean all the way up to this time, do you think
And I
that?
think that's why.
Do you
That's why,
think that there's a
exactly.
possibility that he was doing it beforehand and just found ways of
Definite
masking
possibility.
it?
Well,
Found ways of doing
we
it?
got two ways of looking at it here.
I mean-
either he found ways of masking it for 17 fights,
Right.
or he shattered his leg and may have been taking something to help with the rehab of it,
Which is a definite possibility.
Yep.
Right.
It's a
But,
definite, legit. But see, that's a definite, legitimate possibility.
but think,
Right.
we didn't catch these people we've caught in the last 2 years till we started out of contest testing.
right.
Correct.
So they all knew the timelines.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now that's what I'm saying. They never were busted when it's a random drug test, but they, you know what I mean? They say they've only been busted when it's a random drug test, but when
Right.
it's been a
When they knew
scheduled
the
drug
timeline.
test, they've never been
Well, you
caught.
can cycle on
go
and off,
check
I
out
get
the
it.
old Pride days and go to Japan. I used
They
to
didn't
go
test
watch
for
those guys.
steroids.
Oh, my
But
shit.
that's
They have
just before the
contracts.
fight.
They have contracts that said they're not allowed to test for steroids. They did.
So they
Well,
can-
Metamoris
It was
too.
the same thing with K1.
Let me
Yeah.
have all the steroids I can, please.
Oh yeah, K1. I know they're on roids. Dude.
One steroid, please.
Look at LeBron and all those guys.
No, but I mean, I think that's what kind of saves his rep. Even though, like you're saying, they just initiated the random drug testing a couple years ago. The fact that he was the GOAT, 17 fights without a loss, and never failed a drug test. I think this one failed drug test is not going to tarnish his reputation.
Do you think he should retire if it comes out that it's positive? His other test on the 19th comes out that it's positive.
I think he should retire just based on his fight. He was not himself.
No, he was lagging on the fight, but I would give him one more to see where he
Yeah,
stands.
I think so
At
too.
least.
I don't think he should retire right now.
No,
Even if it comes out that he was on steroids.
even so, because look
I
at
mean,
all the
it
other
has
guys who
technically
come out
it
on
has
steroids.
right now. But I'm saying if they go to the test on the 19th, which is another test result, or they go through his other samples and they find out that he was positive, are you going to say he needs to stop? Or you think
I think
give him a suspension and let him keep going?
Situational. I think it's
Okay.
conditional.
But-
I mean, what if? And
I mean,
granted-
Vitor's been busted before and he's come back.
Right,
You know
and
what
I
I mean,
mean,
there's
But
a bunch of guys.
conditional, right, on reason why.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of what ifs, and there could be a bunch. I mean,
Bonner
obviously-
got busted, he came back. You know what I mean? There's a bunch of guys. But I'm
Anderson,
just asking.
Anderson Silva could come out and he could say, "Look, okay, we found out this is what happened. My doctor gave me this," and it
Right.
could be a bunch of bullshit. It could be a
Right.
bullshit
Right,
smokescreen
right.
story. But even if it is a bullshit smokescreen story, if he comes out with a legit reason, like, "Okay, we did the research, we found out that my doctor gave me this by accident,"
right.
if it's believable, then fuck it, let him have another fight. And if he still sucks,
He's earned that much. You got to give him.
yeah, I think so. I think he's learned at least one more fight, and the benefit of the doubt at
least.
this point.
What I want to know is where did they get? Who uses androstenedione anymore?
It was Mark McGuire.
Nice.
It was Mark McGuire.
Crazy.
So that is your recap and your news for this past week in MMA.
That's good stuff. We hauled ass through that one.
Yeah. And then I have this. We'll post this up. This is Diego Sanchez getting his collarbone replaced.
Oh God, that
Beautiful.
picture again.
Beautiful.
This is Cyborg.
I would hit that hardcore, dude.
It
might bite
get
back.
hurt. Oh, that
I'd
would be
bang that like a
definitely
nail.
nasty.
It might bite back.
You might. Yeah, it looks like a giant vagina, which is probably up on our
Jeez,
Facebook
I think
somewhere.
it's
I have no
huge.
idea. I like that Superman wallpaper, man. That's
So
pretty.
you guys all going to come to the fights?
Of course.
Good deal.
I got my
Good
kids
deal.
that weekend. I can't.
Yeah, I gotta work.
Man, this is going to be the last podcast. I just want everybody to know.
Kids 5 and under get in free.
Huh? Kids 1 and under.
Kids 5 and under got to fight.
February 21st.
I will put my
Fight of the
kid-
Warrior.
I will put
Get
my
down
kids in there.
guys.
Yeah.
Heck
I'll
yeah.
put my kids in there.
You can put your kid into fight.
I will.
Bring him in there.
5 and above, they got to fight, right?
You know,
But he
yeah.
doesn't do kickboxing. He does Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
It
so-
works either
All right,
way.
cool.
We're going to
Let
do
him
baby
try.
MMA, man.
Perfect. I like that.
Flexible.
Kitty cage match.
We're going to have ex-wives night. That'd be a good one.
Sign me up now.
Yeah.
She'll kick your ass.
But I'll try, damn it.
It's all that counts, right? As
It'd be
long
like
as
a
you try.
Diaz Silva fight. Like I won't be expected to win, bro, but I'm still going to show up. So again, check it out. It is called Way of the Warrior. It is 5-Star Elite Championship Promotions presents it. Happening here in Modesto. It's at Bad to the Bones Gym, 1226 7th Street in Modesto, California. Go to Bookies, which is on Stanford and Prescott, to get your tickets. Doors open at 3, $25 for general admission. You got 12 legit sanctioned kickboxing matches, maybe even
fights,
13. This is going to be a serious night of fights, and you should definitely find your way to it. Send an email to 5starelitechampionship@gmail.com. We're going to work on getting a shorter one for next time.
I'm working on it.
And that's it. Thanks for listening to Split Decision. Make sure you tell your friends. Get us on Spreaker, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iTunes, and at our website, which is splitdecisionmma.com. Big thanks to Memory Tag. Check out their greeting cards owned by some of the fighters of Team Alpha Male. Also, AmericanaMMA.org if you need to find yourself some fighting apparel. And so that's pretty much it. SD_MMA on Instagram and Twitter, and Split Decision MMA Podcast on Facebook. From the Rule Out Family Inc. Studios, it is Bueller and Dodge saying have a good night and see you at the fights.